Oh wait,
Um,
one last topic. One last topic. The FAA is having airlines reevaluate the weights for their passengers,
ooh,
literally massive human beings as well as their baggage. And they do this every like they haven't done it in like 10 years, but they've done it before. They use like CDC data and stuff like that. So they're not going to weigh you, and they're going to use CDC data to figure out the average size of a human being and try to figure out how much they can book, how often, how much they need to fly, stuff like that. So that was an interesting story I saw that was just
now,
funny. I was like, huh,
in your opinion, how is a
infectious.
topic like that gonna benefit an investor, and what are some kind of key items in that particular item of news that you as an investor are gonna kind of like
Well,
use as gold
this
or
so
uphold or
the one thing that may happen as a result of this is you may see they were talking about more limiting of ticket sales, bumping passengers, or delays in baggage. Because I guess you could imagine a scenario where okay, we have to assume that people are heavier, right? That's their assumption, right? Making on the assumption they assume okay, the weight's gone up, we've
COVID
evaluated.
weight? Is this COVID
Yeah,
weight?
I 100% think that it's because of COVID. I mean, people get bigger. Planes, like to fly an airplane, they do very careful calculations to maximize the amount of profit. They need to fill every single seat so they get as much money as they can to carry all that friggin' fuel and all those engines fucking across the goddamn world and then do maintenance on it. They need to make sure they're careful because margins in the airline business are like margins on a t-shirt or on a sandwich. You know what I mean? And fuel is extremely heavy, and you need to make sure you have enough of it because you can't run out of fuel. Not only because people might die, but if you land and scare the shit out of people, people aren't going to really fly on your airline because they're scared of dying in the future. So it's really something that they're looking at heavily. They do this periodically. Haven't done it in a while. I think people get I gained 20 some pounds over COVID. So yeah, I definitely all got fatter staying in our houses and stressing out about the pandemic, and that is making it harder for airplanes to fly. I mean,
So
it's more mass
do you see
airlines.
airline stocks increasing or decreasing from this information?
Um,
As an
I don't.
investor, does
It
this
depends on how this affects revenues. It depends if airlines. I don't think this. I don't think it's going to have a really heavy material impact. I think it's just a fun story. But I guess if it were to somehow affect revenues and people would get upset, you know what I mean, or it resulted in people getting bumped, or imagine a scenario where okay, we put all the fuel on the plane, but now we can't carry as much luggage, so we create a way of actually bringing the luggage separately, delaying the baggage. Your fly here, baggage comes later. Like that could be a problem if they have to do something like that, or if you limit the number of limited ticket sales hurts an airline because they're forced to limit them and they don't have as much in their fleet, so other people go where there's more availability. I don't know, but right now there's a big fight in airlines for who's going to take over now because during the pandemic, airlines didn't really fly that much. They were getting subsidized by the government if they even gotten that money yet. So airlines are very expensive to maintain. So
we're having some viewers say airlines to the moon.
airlines, moon. Hey, look, if you want to get a lot of people together and have them buy up all the float until there's literally no shares left and keep pushing that price up, technically you can take it to the moon. But hey, if you want to make money, eventually, what are you gonna have to do? You're gonna have to
Sell.
sell, right?
Yeah.
And if all you sell and then the stock plummets to the ground and causes all this volatility, then the stock's gonna go right back to where it was. So again, if you want to be a pump and dump machine and act like a big hedge fund and do that, that seems to be a valid way of trading, and it definitely will make you money. But do I think airlines are very expensive? Their margins are very hard to maintain. Fuel is very expensive, and especially with oil going up to possibly $100 a barrel. They suspect the airlines have to get futures contracts on this stuff. They try to buy it early, so they lock in good price in advance. That can screw you over because if you lock in at 100, but then the price is actually at like 85 and you missed it, then you're paying $100 for oil when it's only 85. But vice versa, if it comes to 120, you're safe. You're buying it at 100. So airlines are never the industry that's like these are going to be growth stocks that make me lots of money. At most, stable investments that can give you dividends. But if you're looking to make quick cash, airlines wouldn't be the first place you should go.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
But someone said Blue Origin. That Jeff Bezos, he's gonna be the first one to fly in Blue Origin. Of course he is. All right, he's conquered the freaking world. Now he's gonna conquer space too. I
Why
mean, come
not
on,
go to space? Yeah, why
you
not?
can't stop the dude, man.
If $1 billion
But
can't get you to space, like what hope
right,
is there
if you're
for
as
us,
rich
for
as Jeff
anybody
Bezos
else?
and you can't go to space, and what's the point? Like I can't leave Earth, and I'm the richest man ever. Like that's insane, man.
Yeah, yeah. Like
Um,
let's see what
I,
money
I
can do.
those industries might be valuable because it's depending on how much, assuming Jeff Bezos never survives, right? Because they've done a bunch of test flights, but again, you never know. So assuming everything goes well, people are gonna. I think he bid up one of the seats on there. It's up to $2.8 million. So this is definitely gonna be something
Really?
that's for people with
Wow.
some
Yeah,
decent
yeah, yeah.
change.
You're
I
you're
saw a
buying a
cheap one. I
ticket
think
too, right?
Oh, dude, I honestly, I'm gonna rent out the whole thing just to myself. I'm gonna lay on the floor. I'm just gonna blast
Yeah,
off
yeah.
to the great beyond.
No seatbelt. Like I want to get thrown back. I want to feel the thrusters.
Right. So it might make money though in the future. Like it might if because if it's a business. If a bunch of lots of rich people want to fly all the time and you could
Oh,
buy stock in it, why
yeah.
not? I mean, if they're willing to keep paying for it, yeah. So I guess I could make money, but it's definitely cool to watch.
It's
I'm
gonna
sure
be
they
a good
I'm sure
time.
that someone's gonna televise it. I'm sure we're gonna see Jeff Bezos fly into the air in his little
If you have
pod.
$1 billion and are not televising it, like well, you're
And
doing
and
something
yes,
wrong.
uh airports are packed. Yes, I agree with you. But that again, that's the big surge now because remember, we're all getting out of the pandemic. We're all going to live our lives. Everyone's like, I have even things that you didn't want to do before, you do want to do now because you were told you couldn't do it before. So everyone's like, oh my God, I spent a year of my life like with shut off. Like I'm gonna go live everything. It's like when people go to college for the first time and they just go and try everything they can. Just you want to be free now. You've been, your coil has been compressed and now it's spring outward. But that's it's not going to serve. It's not just going to be like people are traveling all the time everywhere in the world. It'll return to normal. These things will
Yeah.
return back to a norm, and even then, they're still not going to be super profitable business. Airplanes are mad expensive to maintain and to fly. Um, and I did I did analysis on this in college, and we just found they have really tight margins. There are some good airlines, like there are some good quality airlines that give you good value and keep their margins up. Sure, but if I had to pick if there was like a handful of stocks to pick that would make me the wealthiest person in the world, it wouldn't be an airline. At least not the big ones. Maybe you find a young one. If you find a really young one in a lucrative market that has a niche product you're offering and that it can expand, that might be growth. But if you're gonna buy like American or Delta, they're pretty big and bloated. They're really hard to expect them to make money. It's like buying McDonald's expecting to triple in price. It's a
Yeah.
cash cow. Get the
Yeah.
dividend. You're not gonna get a lot of money out of that.
Okay. Well,